Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tundra Talk. I am Brandon Rooker, along with my colleague Aaron Wagner here, and today we are talking about pass rushers that Green Bay might be able to take at pick number 28 in the draft. That'd be the Packers' first round pick of this upcoming draft. And Aaron, what are we going to do today?
Today we're gonna go through our five most likely players that would be at the spot. 28 for pass rushers. We're gonna rank them as most likely they'll be there. We'll take them. We'll do that for a little bit, and then we're gonna talk about some maybe in the second round, some pass rushers that'll be available then. So I'll start you. You can start off with your list.
Okay.
And let's go back and forth, kind of.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That sounds like a good plan. All right, so my number 5 would be Courtney Upshaw, who's an outside linebacker from the University of Alabama. Upshaw is a big boy at 6'1", 272, runs a 4.76 40. I personally think he's the best fit for Green Bay out of anybody in this entire draft. Problem is he's the best fit for a lot of teams, which means the chances of him getting to pick number 28 are very slim, and the chances of Ted Thompson trading up for him are slightly less slim, but still pretty slim. So all in all, I don't feel that he's going to be there when Green Bay picks at 28. But if he would be, I think it's a no-brainer you draft him. He's a really good pass rusher. He's really good at a lot of other things, position and titles. He's a championship-level collegiate linebacker, and I think he transitioned very nicely to Green Bay's game. But again, I don't think he'll be there, so that's why he's number 5.
Yeah, my fifth most likely is actually Melvin Ingram. He's a defensive end, outside linebacker out of South Carolina. He played a lot of different positions for him. He played D end, D tackle. He can play outside linebacker in a 3-4 in the pros, but I think his best fit would be a 4-3 where he can play D end, D tackle. I doubt he gets out of the top 12, top 15, but I'd say he's probably the best guy the Packers could take, along with my fourth most likely, which is Courtney Upshaw. Like you had said, he's probably one of the best pure pass rushers or all around. He could slip to the 18, 20 where Ted Thompson could trade off. But yeah, my fifth and fourth is Ingram and Upshaw. I just think they're the cream of the crop this year.
I agree with you.
So what about your fourth?
Well, my number 4 is actually a guy that's the exact opposite of Upshaw when I'm talking about availability. I have Bruce Irvin, who is a defensive end who would switch to an outside linebacker out of the University of West Virginia. 6'3", 245, runs a 4.4 340. Very good numbers. My question is he strong enough? I don't know. And the thing is he's going to be taking on guys that are probably at least 70 pounds heavier than him. I'm not sure if he's strong enough. Not to mention the fact that if anything, he might just be a pass rusher. I don't know if he can actually play the linebacker spot. So I don't know if it's too much of a compromise to take him. I think if you leave him, and if he's there in the second or third round, I think you might take a chance on him. But he does have a lot of potential, which is why I put him on this list. So, Aaron, what do you think about Bruce Irvin quick before you go to number 3?
Before I get to my third, I think Bruce Irvin, like you said, he's kind of one-dimensional.
Yeah.
He's just a pass rushing specialist. I don't know if Ted Thompson will take him.
He's a project pick.
He's a project pick.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll take him that high up. Yeah, your concern is can he take on the run as well? Because that's one of the things that Matthews is really good at.
Definitely.
He's turned into a really good take on the run, pass rush.
Yep.
Can cover.
Yep.
I'm not. At the same time, I don't know if we need a player that can do all that like Clay on the opposite side, but
Yeah.
it would be better to at least for your first round pick to get a guy who has more all around game. And my third most likely is Whitney Merciless. Merciless. He played defensive end. He's from Illinois. He's kind of a one-year wonder. That's what a lot of people are afraid of. That was the same thing as Jason Pierre-Paul. He was the one-year wonder, and he's one of the best defensive linemen in the league.
Merciless, one thing to add quick, had 16 sacks for Illinois last year. So.
He did pad the stats. He looks good on film. He looks fast. I think he can make the transition outside linebacker. He'd be good. I think he'd be good opposite Clay. The question is, will he be there? Most of these guys, their range in the first round mocks are it's all over the board. I can't get a good range on where these guys are going to go, but he could definitely be a pick for the Packers at 28.
All right.
So on to the last two guys we got.
Yeah, well, actually, I have to get my number 3 quick.
Oh, yeah.
But then we'll go on to number. Yep. My third would actually be Nick Perry, who's a defensive end who would be an outside linebacker for the Packers out of USC. Big guy, 6'2", 271 pounds, runs a 6'4", or a 4.64, sorry, 4.64 40. The reason though why I have him down to my number 3 is comments I've been hearing about the fact that he doesn't feel comfortable playing up, which would mean outside linebacker, and that's an issue because he's not an end for the Packers. I think he's pretty much just an outside linebacker. If he doesn't feel comfortable in that spot, then that's going to be a big issue. But if he would feel comfortable, I mean, he's a physical freak, very strong, very fast, very big, and also is a very good pass rusher. So I think he's a good pick if he feels comfortable playing up. If he doesn't, then it's totally different. So that's my thought on that. Aaron, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Fletcher Cox. His stock has risen big time since the combine. He had been in the Packers range. He still kind of is, but I'm starting to see mocks where he's going even top 10.
Really?
Yeah, till you get your Carolina, your Miami,
Yeah.
And then even into your early teens, you get 12, 13, 14. I don't know. Depends on where they all go. I think the main thing will be are the offensive linemen. If they start to slip, that's because most of the pass rushers or defense and outside linebackers are getting selected. But I think if they start to get slotted, then you'll see some of the guys, not necessarily slide, but they won't be taken as high up. And it'll be interesting to hear Fletcher Cox because I've heard nothing but good things. He's a good player, good kid. He'd be a defense end in our system, and I think he'd be really good in a Packer uniform, to be quite honest. And that's why he's my second most likely. I'm a big fan of his, to be honest.
Very cool. Very cool. So he's kind of your rising star.
Between him and my number 1 guy. I would, if he's a Packer, it'd be a hell of a draft. I think. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, my number 2, I'm keeping the defensive end theme alive. I have a different guy in mind. I'm taking Jared Crick, who's a defensive end out of the University of Nebraska. 6'4", 279, runs a 4.99 40. He's slightly light. He's a little bit lighter than I'd like him to be at the end, but I think he's capable of bulking up a little bit. Crick, I think, is a fantastic pass rusher. He was hurt a lot this year. He's missed a lot of time. But when he's healthy, he's a heck of a pass rusher. Would fit very well in as a defensive end. But like Aaron said, this is what you can see with our number 2 pick is just because we're talking pass rushers doesn't mean it has to be an outside linebacker. So take that for what you want, I guess. So Aaron, drum roll because it's time to reveal your number 1.
Yes, it is.
You feel Green Bay will walk away with from the draft with the 20th pick, and it is
Nick Perry, defensive end out of USC.
Yeah.
You had him 3rd on your list.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep him at 1. Maybe it's a little stubbornness. He's been my number 1 player since the end of the season, since the pre-draft process started. I think he's got tremendous upside. He's a junior coming out. A lot of people think if he'd stay another year, he'd easily be a top 10 pick. Great pass rush. He's fast, very athletic. The only worries a little bit is in the coverage area, but like Clay Matthews, he turned out all right. The main thing that comment that he preferred to play with his hand down, but has he tried to play and stand up? I think it's just as easy. Not easy, but
doable.
it's doable to stand up and rush. And if Nick Perry's there and the Packers take him, that would make my day, and I'd be totally okay with it.
That's your thought?
Yeah, I have. It's a little worrisome that he could be a bust player, but I think he's a very good player that the Packers should
Look into.
take a long look into. Yeah. So who's number 1 on your list?
Ironically, I think just like my 3 was your 1, I believe your 3 was my 1. Whitney Mercilus, defensive end, who would convert to an outside linebacker out of Illinois. 6'3", 261, 4.68 40. I think one thing I have to say is I actually think Perry is going to go higher in 28.
Yeah,
I think his stock is rising.
Yeah.
So I think, first of all, I don't think he's going to get to Green Bay, which means guys that are left in that position, I think Mercilus is probably the best guy left at 28, and that's okay. I think could be a very good player. He might have a little bit of, what do you want to call it, a little risk factor involved there. But I think it's a guy that's very productive as a pass rusher, a guy who's quick enough to play outside, and a guy who's big enough to play outside and strong enough. So I think Whitney Mercilus is somewhat of a compensation pick, but I think he's a very good compensation pick. So that's the guy I'm going. So Aaron, we're just gonna run over quickly. Give me a couple names you see in the second round and explain what you like about the guys.
All right. In the second round, you got some guys. Ronald Lewis, DN outside linebacker in college for Oklahoma. He'd be a 3-4 outside linebacker. Solid, average. In the second round, he'd be good value. Shane McClellan, same type of player out of Boise State. His stock's rising big time. Then you get your Jared Crick reserve. I'm not as high on them as you are because I think Irvin's a one-dimensional player at this point. Jared Crick, I'm not that high on either.
Yeah.
But if they're there at at the end of the second round, it's a good pick because at that point it's end of the second round, start of third round. It's kind of interchangeable, and I think if they're sitting there, you might as well pick them up, depending on what your first pick was. Any different players on your list?
Well, there's one guy I just want to talk about quickly, and I don't think he is necessarily a 3-4 outside linebacker, though he is a linebacker. And it's a guy that I am very high on and I like, just maybe not for Green Bay. And Aaron, I feel, is somewhat similar. That would be Levante David out of Nebraska. My problem with David is he checks in at about 233 pounds. It's a little, well, not a little. That's extremely light for an outside linebacker.
He actually packed on. He actually packed on 10, 15 pounds for the combine, though. I think.
Yeah, he was at 225 coming in before that.
So he's showing signs that he can add bulk to it, muscle to his frame.
He's a fantastic hustle guy. He's a guy that's going to give you everything he's got. Very instinctive, very good football player. I just don't think he's a 3-4 outside linebacker.
No, yeah, you're right on that. I don't think he's a 3-4, but I think there's a 4-3 team. I'm not trying to think of some 4-3 teams who would be there late first, early second.
So you think he's a late first, early second round draft pick?
Yeah, I think he's in that area. Personally, I think that, but I think he'll probably slide to late second. But he's drawn a lot of interest from teams, so
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
I liked him a lot. So, well, I think that just about wraps up this little signet of or big net, not signet, big net of Thunder Talk. So, for Brandon Rooker, or for Aaron Wagner, I am Brandon Rooker, and thank you for watching. You guys have a good one.